Hola amigos, my name is Tom. You're watching High Rant District. I'm going to do What's Spinning. I got a big pile here, and I figure before I put stuff away, pull other stuff out, might as well just show you what I've been listening to over the past week or two. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you in the U.S., the rest of you. I know Canada had their Thanksgiving last month. Hope it went well. And the rest of the planet, happy whatever day it is to you. Let me just get to showing what I've been listening to lately. First up, I picked this up thanks to Thumpfinger, showing it on Instagram. That's CD Zillatron, Lord of the Harvest. This is from 1993. It's a Zillatron is Bootsy Collins. This is a funky, kind of experimental, spacey, just on Black Ark, I guess. Just a fantastic, fantastic CD. It's meant. I think he said it's meant to be silly, but it's fantastic. It's a really fantastic listen. Some of the stuff I'm going to show may not be familiar to everybody, and if it's something I think that's kind of obscure, I'll post a link to a video of one of the songs in the description below, or above, or sideways, or however you got your screen set up. Next up is another CD. This one is by a Finnish band called Lordi. The title of it is Get Heavy. This is from 2002. There's a 2008 U.S. reissue of it, but it came out in 2002 originally. It's heavy metal, kind of cheesy. I got this on recommendation from Yarko from the channel My Vinyl Bar, and because I was showing Gwar, and he was saying, well, the only one of the Finnish bands I know that's kind of a monster band is Lordi, and I was unfamiliar with them. It is heavy metal. It's what I would call a dated heavy metal. It's got a lot of keyboards, a lot of piano in it, and it's kind of cheesy. And I don't know that if this were a U.S. band, I would dig it, but for whatever reason, because they're from Finland, this captures me. It captures my interest, and it's something I will listen to repeatedly. Thanks, Yarko. That was an excellent, excellent recommendation. Lordi, Get Heavy. A lot of great music comes out of Finland. Next up, this is the 2018 reissue of the 1968 Beatles White Album. This is a 3-CD version that just came out. I never really listened to the whole White Album. Chris at Dixieland Farm was showing, I think, 4 albums recently that were very influential to him. And oddly enough, 2 of those 4 albums that were influential to him are ones that I've been listening to in this stack. And I'll get to the other one in a bit. The Beatles White Album, it's a 2-CD set. It's a 2 vinyl set, I guess, if you have it on vinyl. And as far as reissue goes, I mean, I'll buy reissues on CD. I generally don't buy reissues on vinyl if it's available on CD. I figure things are being processed digitally. I don't see really a reason to get a vinyl version of something that's been done digitally. Blah, blah, blah. Rant for another day. But it's fantastic. It's a really fantastic album, start to finish. The album is called The Beatles. People refer to it as the White Albums. This is The Beatles, and then the third CD is the Escher Demos. I'm calling it the Escher Demos because if me and Mr. Mayo were ever to watch one of my videos, he would hear that and he would go, it's not the Escher Demos, it's the Escher Demos. And he'd be like, because he'd be triggered and he'd be on another rant, and I think his medication's getting low. And Joe, me and Mr. Mustard, I'm sorry, me and Mr. Mayo, man, get my Beatles references confused, is good people. I like Joe. Next up, recent purchase that I regret possibly the most. Smashing Pumpkins. It's Shiny and Oh So Bright, Volume 1 LP, no future, no past, no sun, something to that effect. I'll put a graphic that has the actual title. It's like 100 words long. It's a gatefold. It's on gold vinyl. I'm not going to show the vinyl. When this thing came out, this came out in the last week. I want to say November 16th or so was probably when it was released. The Smashing Pumpkins was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. I caught them back in like '93 or '94. Playing their stuff from Gish and Siamese Dream, and to me, like, that's, plus Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, which came out after that concert. Those are just great albums, great sounds. And, this is their first album since about 4 years ago when they came out with Monument to an Elegy, and which I don't think I've listened to since 2014. So that probably should have swayed me away from this. But I'm like, Smashing Pumpkins, man, I dig them. And the reality of it is I dig, early 1990s Smashing Pumpkins. My regret is that, first of all, when I ordered this, I ordered it the day like the pre-orders came out. It was on Napalm Records, and it said, strictly limited to 500 copies on gold vinyl. And I placed an order. And then apparently, strictly limited meant, these sold out fast. So it became strictly limited to 750 copies. Now, I don't give a shit if it's limited or not. I just kind of saw it and I bought it. But man, I don't think they know what strictly or limited means. All vinyl should be just black, in my opinion, and be unlimited. Just sell as many as people will buy. Share the music. But anyway, aside from some really good drumming by Jimmy Chamberlain here and there, he's a fantastic drummer. Man, it's a boring album. There's a couple of songs on here. I can't remember if it was Alienation. There's a couple of them where like this, he says Billy Corgan singing the same word over and over and over, and I'm thinking, man, this album's got to be a drinking game, because almost every song, it's so repetitive. The lyrics are so repetitive that if you just drink every time he says a certain word, a certain phrase, you won't make it through side A. My regret is not buying this on CD. I should have known better. And I doubt I'll keep this. I can't see listening to it. If I want to listen to Smashing Pumpkins, there's no way that this is a go-to. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Next up is Highly Rare is the name of the album by Micaiah McCraven. This is on International Anthem Records from, I think it's from last year. 2017, I believe. And this is jazz, which is not something I normally listen to, but my International Anthem as a label has jazz that I will listen to. I don't know, there's not really a label for it. I guess I would call it urban jazz, but it's jazz with a life, with a beat, with a pulse. A lot of this may not be entirely able to be replicated live, which is fine. It's something I think that they've done a lot of processing in the studio. And I know I'm describing this badly, but Micaiah McCraven is a jazz drummer, and pretty sure he's based in Chicago. And it's just interesting. It's a really good listen. I'll definitely post a link to a song from this below. It's, jazz by not dead people is something that has the potential to have my interest. This is an outstanding record. The vinyl for this is kind of cool looking. It's like black inside red. Cool stuff. But check out the label on Bandcamp if you're interested at all. International Anthem. Ben Lamar Gay is a trumpeter. He's got something out, and who else was it? I'm forgetting somebody I recently picked up by them. Universal Entanglements. I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Next up, classic from 1995, Filter. Their album, Short Bus. I know everybody knows and is probably tired of Hey Man, Nice Shot. This album is, I dig this album. It's just like kind of sitting in a wall of noise and just like, it's what I would call alternative and maybe slightly industrial, but it's just like kind of the music that just kind of like, envelops you, and it's meant to be played loud. It's fantastic. I love this album. Next up, the new release by Fucked Up. I think it's their fifth album. It's called Dose Your Dreams. It's on Merge Records. It's I thought it was a gatefold, but it's not. It's a double LP. Here's what the back looks like. It's their fifth album. I love the earlier stuff. The fifth album is kind of it's quality. It is quality, but kind of I'm looking for more of a punk sound out of this. And this album sounds far more mature than I'm looking for out of Fucked Up. There's a lot of different arrangements in here. They originally were a punk band. I don't know what I would call them a punk band anymore. They kind of go all over the place, and I'm poorly describing this. It's a quality album. It's like some movies that win an Oscar. You're like, man, that was a quality movie. I don't really care for it, but I recognize quality when I see it. And this is high quality, but not really the punk album that I was looking for. I will listen to this again. I know, I'm a immature human being, and I'll give this more listens. There's gold in here. I just haven't sifted through it enough yet. Next up, 2 albums that came out this year from the Castle Face label. This is The Intelligence, a band out of, I want to say Seattle, if not Seattle, nearby. Kind of punkish. I'd call it more garage rock. This is from a live recorded show that was recorded in 2016. Excellent music. Love the cover. And also we have the Exit Group with Adverse Habitat. This is post-punk. Post-punk that's not like a heavily bass-driven post-punk, but more... It has elements of electronic in it, but it's not an electronic album. It's a very, very post-punk album. It's really fantastic. I enjoyed this a lot. This one, most people will know. It's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. This was the second of the 4 albums that Chris from Dixieland Farm was showing that were very influential to him. It's got a trifold to it. And gatefold, trifold, whatever. This is the way you use a gatefold or a trifold or whatever you want to call this. You put the lyrics in it because people lose the inner sleeves, but generally you're not going to lose the outer sleeve. And if you have the lyrics on the outer sleeve somewhere, that's the way to go. That's how you use a gatefold. This has, clearly Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Benny and the Jets. Love that song. Candle in the Wind. Hate that song, but the rest of the album is really, really good. There's a song called, I think it's called Jamaica Jerk Off. It just seems like, man, I don't know if you get away with like making that kind of mocking Jamaican accent in a pop album nowadays. Really good stuff though. Overall, enjoyable. I'll listen to it again, and it draws my better half into the room when I'm playing this. Next up, we got 3 more. A new album by Coulter Wall, songs from the Plains. He's a young Canadian guy. I want to say he's 23, 22, 24, somewhere around there. It's a gatefold. And it's really about songs from the prairie. I think he's from Manitoba, might be Saskatchewan. Both are mentioned in song titles on the back. This is a very country, very simple, guitar, and this guy's voice is fantastic. Just kind of him strumming the guitar and singing. It sounds like a very, very early Johnny Cash. This guy is, if you like country music, this is country. This guy is somebody I would consider a superstar. He's really fantastic. If you dig country music, old school quality country music, not the new crap, you will love this album. Next is, I want to say, the second album by the Buzzcocks. It's Love Bites from 1978. Excellent album. A lot of people refer to them as punk. This album is, I would call it a pop album, but very, very enjoyable. I dig the Buzzcocks. You know, it's a lot of what I listened to growing up. Can't go wrong with the Buzzcocks. And last but not least, it's kind of weird because the opening's on this side, which would make me hold the album like this, but it's not. This is The Flowers of Romance by Public Image Limited. Third album by them from 1981 or 82. Not sure. The Flowers of Romance. Great cover. This was a very sound that, you know, you don't have Jaw Wobble on here anymore. It's the third album by PIL, and it's almost like you're just listening to like drums. It's a very drum driven album, and it's Johnny Lydon doing, you know, is all over the place wailing, you know, experimental but to me fantastic vocals with heavy drums. It works. It works for me, I should say. I would not call this an accessible album, but I would call it an excellent album. I really dig this. It's, you know, this is my flavor. And that's enough. I've been going on for far longer than I intended. Happy holidays in the U.S., everybody else. You know, happy yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.